Okay, so hello everyone, and for today's video, I'll be teaching you how to evaluate the values of some trigonometric functions by using our fingers. Okay, so again, this is our thumb finger, the point finger, middle finger, the ring finger, and the little finger. So for each finger, we will be assigning some special angles. For the thumb finger, we will be given this 0. For the point finger, this is our 30 degrees angle or pi over 6. And then for the middle finger, this is your pi over 4 or 45 degrees. And then for your ring finger, this will be your pi over 3 angle or 60 degrees. And for the little finger, this will be your 90 degrees angle or pi over 2. Okay. So when you write the coordinates of a point, say point P, you say it's x, y. So technically, when you write the coordinate of a point, you write x on the left side of the ordered pairs, and you assign the right side to be your y. Similarly, when you're looking for a point on a trigonometric function, so that is your cosine theta written on the left side and your sine theta written on the right side. Okay, so x corresponds to cosine theta and y corresponds to sine theta. So again, cosine theta is written on the left side and sine theta is written on the right side. So what will be the coordinates of this angle? Say pi over 6, pi over 4, and pi over 3. Okay. Now, if you're on the 30 degrees angle or pi over 6, you will just look on the number of fingers on the left side and the number of fingers on your right. One more. So the number of fingers on the left side will be your cosine theta, and the number of finger on the right side will be your sine theta. So let's get it on. So for pi over 6, so you notice that there are 3 fingers on its left, 1, 2, and 3. And then its cosine theta will be square root of 3, and then the denominator is always equal to 2. Square root of 3 over 2. And then on the right side, you only have 1, then you say it's 1/2. So that is the coordinate for pi over 6. It means that cosine pi over 6 is square root of 3 over 2, and sine pi over 6 is 1/2. One more. So that is cosine pi over 6 is equal to square root of 3 over 2, and sine pi over 6 equals 1/2. Okay, let's proceed with pi over 4 or 45 degrees. 45 degrees, that's at the middle of your finger or the middle finger, okay? And you will notice that there are 2 fingers on its left, 1, 2, and then you say it's square root of 2 over 2. And then on the right side, there are 2 fingers, 1, 2. Again, that's square root of 2 over 2. And then you say it's cosine pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2, and sine pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2. Okay, that is your 45 degrees angle. For pi over 3, that's the ring finger, you will notice that there is only 1 finger on its left, so you say it's 1 square root of 1 is 1 over 2, and then there are 3 fingers on its right, so that will be the value of your sine pi over 3, so that's square root of 3 over 2. So which means cosine pi over 3 is 1/2, and sine pi over 3 is square root of 3 over 2. Now, what will be the coordinates of your angle 0 and angle pi over 2? For your angle 0, so on its right side, on its left side, this is your angle 0. On its left side, there are 4 fingers, so that's square root of 4 over 2. Square root of 4 is 2 over 2. That is 1. And then on its left, you will notice that on its right, you will notice that there is no finger left on its right. So that means it's 0. Whereas for pi over 2, So you will notice that on its left, there is no finger. So that means 0. And then on its right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have square root of 4, that is 2, over 2, that is 1. So these are the coordinates of some special angles on the first quadrant. So 0, cosine 0 is 1, sine 0 is 0, cosine pi over 6 is square root of 3 over 2, sine pi over 6 is 1 half, cosine pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2, sine pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2, cosine pi over 3 is 1 half, sine pi over 3 is square root of 3 over 2, and then for cosine pi over 2 is 0, and sine pi over 2 is 1. So technically, on the second quadrant, so the angles will be, on the second quadrant, the angles will be 2 pi over 3, 3 pi over 4, and 5 pi over 6. So the x coordinates, square root of 3 over 2, square root of 2 over 2, 1 half, 1, 0. 1 will receive the negative sign because cosine on the second quadrant is negative. On the third quadrant, both are negative, and on the fourth quadrant, only the y coordinates will receive the minus sign. So if we want to evaluate, say, what will be the coordinate of the angle 2 pi over 3? So since this is pi over 3, it will also follow this coordinate 1 half and square root of 3 over 2. Okay? And since 2 pi over 3, 2 pi over 3 is an element of the second quadrant, and we all know that cosine on the second quadrant is negative, so the coordinates will be negative 1 half and square root of 3 over 2. So if we want to look for cosine 2 pi over 3, then you say it's negative 1 half, and cosine 2 pi over 3 is equal to square root of 3 over 2. So that's it for now, and you just keep on subscribing to my channel, and I'll be uploading more videos related to this topic.